Mother Teresa, the sari-draped saint of the slums, a Nobel Peace Prize winner, a Catholic icon, and, according to some critics, a glorified gatekeeper of pain. So which is it? Let's break it down. Teresa of Calcutta, while many thought she was half Indian just because she wore a sari, was actually born on Yezu Ganju Boyaju in 1910, ethnically Albanian, became the global face of Christian charity. She founded the Missionaries of Charity, a religious order with homes all over the world, dedicated to caring for the poorest of the poor. But here's where it gets complicated. Her entire mission was rooted in the belief that suffering is a gift from God. In her own words, suffering is a gift of God. It is a chance to share in the passion of Christ. She didn't just tolerate suffering. She embraced it. She saw the pain of others as spiritually valuable, a way to get closer to Jesus, to mirror his suffering on the cross. In Catholic theology, this is called redemptive suffering, the notion that suffering can bring one closer to God or be offered up for the sins of others. It's not unheard of among saints. But Teresa didn't just believe it. She institutionalized it. Her hospices became infamous for rejecting modern medical care. Dr. Robin Fox, then editor of The Lancet, visited her home for the dying in Calcutta in 1994 and reported, "There is no pain control." The staff concluded that God wanted the suffering. He noted reused needles, washed in cold water, poor hygiene, and lack of basic treatment, even when resources were available. Multiple ex-members came forward to say, patients were often denied painkillers, even aspirin or morphine, and died on bare mattresses with reused needles. All this despite the Missionaries of Charity receiving millions in global donations. There were no real doctors there, mostly nuns, volunteers, and religious workers, many of whom had little to no medical training. Critics say they were closer to under-equipped shelters for the dying, run not by professionals, but by the faithful, with good intentions, perhaps, but tragic outcomes. So where did the money go? Critics, including Christopher Hitchens in his exposé Hell's Angel, accused her of hoarding funds, funneling them into building new convents rather than improving the lives of the dying. Rather than tackling poverty at its roots, she seemed to accept suffering as inevitable, almost sacred. Defenders argue that her hospices were never meant to be five-star hospitals, but places of dignity for the dying poor. But critics clap back. The Missionaries of Charity operate in over 100 countries, collecting global donations with virtually no financial transparency. As one former member put it, they operate without any accountability. Why aren't they held to the same standards as the Red Cross or Oxfam? According to Hitchens and others, a significant portion of the money didn't go toward care, but toward expanding religious missions across the globe. And then there's the company she kept. In 1981, Mother Teresa publicly accepted the Haitian Legion of Honor from dictator Jean-Claude Duvalier, a man notorious for human rights abuses, torture, and mass corruption. She praised the Duvalier family for their love of the poor, saying, "The Duvalier love the poor, and their love is reciprocated." The photo op raised more than a few eyebrows. She also held hardline conservative views on abortion, contraception, divorce, and women's roles. In her 1979 Nobel Peace Prize speech, she declared, "Any country that accepts abortion is not teaching its people to love, but to use any violence to get what they want." She opposed contraception, even in the poorest slums, and preached that marriage was indissoluble, no matter the cost. Her model of womanhood? Obedience, sacrifice, and silent suffering, even in abusive marriages. And then there's the forced baptisms. Numerous accounts from former volunteers claim that non-Christian patients were routinely baptized on their deathbeds, often without full understanding or consent. Volunteers were reportedly instructed to ask, "Do you want a ticket to heaven?" And if the person nodded, baptism followed. Secretly, quietly. Why? Because in Mother Teresa's view, helping someone die as a Catholic was the ultimate gift. A holy win, a soul saved. But in reality, it was spiritual coercion, deathbed tactics, allegedly framed as acts of mercy. A religious overstep in a deeply multicultural society. Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, or otherwise, dying patients were being converted in their final moments, often without knowing or understanding what was happening. And let's talk about the hypocrisy. While she denied basic care to the dying in her clinics, Mother Teresa herself received top-tier treatment in elite Western hospitals when she fell ill. In 1983, after suffering a heart attack in Rome, she was treated at the Gemelli Hospital, a top Catholic medical center often used by the Pope. In 1991, when she had pneumonia and heart problems, she received care at Scripps Clinic in La Jolla, California, a private, state-of-the-art hospital in the U.S. She also underwent heart surgery at Woodlands Nursing Home in Calcutta, a modern facility. Her faith in redemptive suffering? Apparently not strong enough, at least, as her critics point out, when it came to her own pain. Yet in 1979, she received the Nobel Peace Prize. Why? Because she fit the perfect savior narrative. Tiny, wrinkled, humble, with a simple white sari and camera-ready soundbites. We are not called to be successful, but faithful. She became a symbol of self-sacrifice. The West adored her, but many in India and beyond saw a different story, one of spiritual imperialism, misplaced martyrdom, and religious ego dressed up as humility. This is where the term white savior hits hard. Even though she wasn't ethnically white, her actions mirrored colonial-era missionary tropes, converting the brown and poor, glorifying their suffering, and becoming the moral star of the show. Her citizenship may have been Indian, but her methods served a westernized ideal of holiness. But here's the complex truth. Mother Teresa did save people. She pulled the abandoned, the terminal, the forgotten off the streets. She gave them human touch, shelter, and ritual in their final days. Her work meant something, especially in a world that often looks away from poverty. So what are we left with? A woman who believed in love and sacrifice. A woman who preached poverty but accepted millions. A woman who saved souls but may have robbed people of relief. Mother Teresa didn't just call suffering a gift. She wrapped it in ribbon, handed it out like salvation, and the world gave her a prize for it. So the question is, was it help, or was it control dressed as help? Did she serve the poor, or the idea of holiness through suffering? Saint, savior, or something far more complicated?